Man, why you hardstyle and RKC folks, why have you been critiquing us all the time about the rack position, which is so bad for the back? I'm joking, of course. But yeah, that's a solid, super nice rack position. Enter the Kettlebell by Pavel Tsatsouline. Legendary, iconic content that I want to react to. This is part 2 of this series. If you want to watch part 1, you can check it out right here or in the link in the description. And if you want to get started with kettlebells and you're looking for a free guide to check out my ebook, it's called the Kettlebell Code. You'll find it in the first link in the description. Let's jump right into the reaction. Gregory from Lebe here. Let's jump right into the swing by Pavel. And one important disclaimer before we get started. This is not a recommendation for you or anyone. This is my personal reaction to how I train with kettlebells, and if I apply his ideas and his mechanics into my style of training. If you enjoy Pavel, if you enjoy what he gives you, that's fine. I am going on a different path, but of course, I'm always listening to everybody, just for you to make sure this is my take on how I train and if I use what he's sharing.
Comrade, I dare you to find an exercise that will give you more benefits than the kettlebell swing. It's been said, this is the closest you can get to a fight without throwing a punch.
That's what kettlebells are in general. Now, I use that deadlift type style swing, which he coined as the hard style swing as well in my training, depending on what type of swing I'm using or what type of weight. What I use more though, probably 80%, is the pendulum style swing. And the pendulum is a timing mechanism between hips and knees that allows for more a fluid control, where it turns the kettlebell swing into a conditioning exercise. But funny thing is, if you look at where the kettlebell comes from, the swing in and all by itself is not an exercise that they would do on a regular basis, the getaway sport athletes. The swing was masterfully popularized by Pavel, we have to say this, as a standalone exercise, and I credit him to it, and I think it's a great exercise too.
Comrade, the box squat will teach you how to move properly. Observe. Find a box that's tall enough you can sit on. This may be a little too short for you. Tall enough. Then stick your hands right here in these creases. Remember this crease. Push.
That's what they all do now. It's like a ritual, pushing the hips, the fingers into the hips and pushing it back.
Bridges of your hands. Notice the weight goes on your heels. Your toes are even coming up slightly. Now keep pushing and start sitting back. Don't go down. Don't go forward. Sit back. Keep sitting back.
And this is what I would categorize as the hinge. I like the box squat. I like squats in general. This is awesome. The way I teach it is understanding the hinge, where you push the hips back, the upper body reacts, and then the upper body leans forward, as Pavel introduced in the first part of my reaction, in the first part of this video. And I do not introduce a swing with a squat. I think they're two separate means, but I think on that front, the hinge is fairly new, and Pavel was using the squat to illustrate the hinge. That's my guess.
Stay tight through here. Pull yourself down. Don't fall through. You may have to hold your hands in front for counterbalance. If you're top heavy, you may have to hold on to a kettlebell for counterbalance. So pull. Then you rock back just a little, rock forward. Then you drive your feet hard into the deck, keeping your shin vertical, just like they are stuck in cement. Tense the glutes hard, drive the hips through.
Stuck in cement, great cue. Great cue, love it. And this is, many people in our practice, when we teach clients, many people get it mixed up between the squat and the hinge, because the hinge is just pushing the hips back and the knees are unlocking. And in the squat, yes, the hips push back, but the knees are bending. And now, depending on what type of squat you're doing, we do the Olympic squat, where the upper body stays as upright as possible, because we want to use this as a segue into the goblet squat or front squats, which we do with kettlebells often. And so this creates that confusion that many people suffer from, and they don't see the difference. But once you really get into the habit of things and you understand the major difference with the movement, because we always say feeling is understanding. I credit this saying to my friend Harbert Ekberts, the Flowing Dutchman. Then you get a feel for the exercises.
Now note what not to do.
Yes. Yes. Oh,
See?
This is funny that he does this. This is funny. Wow. I show this to our clients too, and I'm 100% honest. Of course, I've heard about Enter the Kettlebell, and now that I'm watching this, I'm absorbing it because I'm reacting to it. So I want to give it my full attention so I can give it some value. But I do this too. I tell our clients, listen, when you sit down, and this is teaching the squat, taking it away from the swing now, teaching the squat. You don't push the hips, the knees forward, and then you slowly lower yourself towards a chair. You don't do this. You push the hips back. And this is what I always tell people, and the box squat is very helpful on that front, or just giving people the cue that when you push the hips back, think about you sit down. Think of how you sit down. Here's a chair. How do you sit down? Nobody pushes the knees out and then goes down. This is, all right, love it. At the same epiphany moment and the same cue.
Scooping under. No good. Letting your feet come under. No good. What you gotta do, keep the shins vertical. Sit back. Stay tight. And stand up very crisply, just with the hips. Your back stays straight, not to be confused with vertical. Comrade, then just let the box squat flow straight into the vertical jump.
I can't tell you how many people have issues with jumping. And when Pavel lands, he lands on the toes, but he doesn't hit the floor with the heels. Interesting to see. When I do jumps, I jump up and then I land toes first, and then I, boom, drop on the heels to absorb the impact. And it is so interesting to see with our clients. And mind you, people that we coach are regular people who never moved kettlebells in their life or never moved weights in their life. Regular, everyday, normal people, 40, 50, 60, especially the after 50 crowd. And they don't know how to jump. And Pavel said in a podcast with Andrew Huberman, which he cuts through the chase quickly. This is what I like about great teachers and teachers in general who understand their craft, that they have cues that they know what to say and it lands or hits home quickly and immediately. And it said on that front that bodyweight exercises seem so innocent, but you have to really understand your body and be strong on an overall basis that you can do proper bodyweight exercises. And jumping, most definitely, a tricky exercise, especially if you are a little bit older, that requires some skill.
That's the swing. Sit back, load up, extend. Sit back, extend. Power to you. Comrade, the towel swing will teach you how to swing properly, fast. If you do anything funny, like lifting with the arms or scooping, see how it doesn't look good. What you gotta do, you gotta strive to get to the point where the towel and the kettlebell form a straight line on the top. See, the arms are loose. And your body also forms a straight line on the top. So you just do this. If it tends to pull you forward, you just let her go. Don't want to get yourself hurt. So when these lines are straight, when the kettlebell hangs weightless for a moment, see, hangs weightless, you're ready for the next step. And set it down safely.
Good point. So I never used the towel swing, but I've heard from many, many people all around the world on our comments, in a comment section, that they've profited from this type of skill drill. So a drill, and this is what I would consider a drill. A drill is a means for you to understand a movement better. It's not the movement per se, and it's not exercising and doing the movement to get your brain to put the pieces together to understand how the exercise actually works. but it's a means of understanding the exercise. And there are other ways. For example, I just use one-arm swings and telling people to keep the arms loose and letting them loose. I use the bottle drill often, which is now too much a little bit to get into, but I place the bottle between the legs, and then people, when you swing the kettlebell, it's not supposed to hit the bottle as you drop it, because then you squat too low if it does, so on and so forth. But these are great drills. And by the way, drills are tools in a toolbox. Just because he's using it, or just because you've heard many coaches and teachers use it, doesn't mean that you have to use it too in your application with your clients. It's just a toolbox. And just like when I use stuff or do things that work very well for me and my audience, doesn't mean that you have to automatically apply it.
Once you learn how to keep your arms loose, drive with the hips, extend completely on the top.
Yeah, listen, keep the arms loose. Yeah. And so stop extending, overextending this. This is what I see oftentimes. It's where when the swing comes up at the top and they keep the arms extended, he says it himself, keep the arms loose, 100%.
The towel swing, you can try the regular two-handed swing. So pick it up safely. Right here, see, right here, swing it back. Pick it up, cut the kettlebell safely, drive with the hips, up to your chest level, keeping your arms loose.
That's what's up.
Hike past the kettlebell behind you on the way down. See, just hike past it. Hike past it. You butt back, hike past it, fold through the hips. It gets loose, and set it down, nice and safe. On the top, tense the glutes really hard. Push your feet down, and pull up your kneecaps.
Pushing the feet down means that the kettlebell comes up. It's physics. Always think about pushing yourself into the floor, and then the bell comes up. Don't pull it up.
Enjoy the pain.
Yeah. Enjoy the pain. I love it. So he says arms loose. Here's what I have recognized when I do the swing. So the kettlebell lands at the top. He keeps the arms a little bit more extended than I do. I keep the arms even looser and the elbow bends to a certain extent, because 80% of the ground reaction forces are vertical when you swing, clean, and snatch. So I think about bell coming up, not forward. And so keeping the arms loose when the kettlebell is at the top swing, at the apex, that's fine. And once it drops, and once the arms and the body reconnect, so we call it ABC, arm-body connection. Once this happens, you pull your lats tight. So what does that mean? You drill the shoulders down so that you can squeeze the arms towards your body and build up tension. Why do you do this? I always say it's like loading a catapult. When the kettlebell makes contact with your body, you load the catapult until you push the feet down on the floor and you land right at the position where the kettlebell goes up and under and starts floating again, and the arm loses connection with the body. And this is so important because you want to load the swing. And just like my late great sensei Steve Cotter said, he said, maximize the time the arm is connected to the body and minimize the time the arm is disconnected from the body.
Once you mastered the two-handed swing, you can move up to the one-handed swing. Don't grip the kettlebell tight, just hook it, sort of hook it, and keep the arm loose. Observe. You don't have to start very high. You can start low and then build up the height.
Super nice technique.
And then as you get better, you can switch your hands on the fly.
Hand-to-hand swing.
Notice if the kettlebell starts pulling you forward, just let go. Don't try to recover it. Otherwise, on the top of the swing, pull the shoulders slightly towards you, so the kettlebell comes towards you. Same forceful breathing. Arm goes back to load up. And if the kettlebell pulls you forward, let go.
So when we do the hand-to-hand swing, is I do the transition with the free hand as the kettlebell comes up. So when the kettlebell, let's imagine it's in my right hand, so it comes back up, the other hand shifts in and transitions before I reach the apex of the swing. This creates safety so that the kettlebell doesn't fly and then I have to grab it like I'm a fly catcher. No, it's a smooth transition from the bottom up to the apex, and then I'm switching hands. And that switch should be very subtle, and you want to keep the hands loose. This is how I do it. And I keep everything fairly loose so that I do not interfere with the flight path of the kettlebell. Now, he uses that type of forceful breathing that I don't do this. I breathe from the back of my neck like this. So I call it anatomical breathing, or biomechanical breathing using my, what's the word of it? My diaphragm, using my diaphragmatic breathing to really be safe on my pattern. I don't want anything to be tense up here. I keep a joker face instead of a poker face. I keep a poker face instead of a joker face. Everything is loose up here and it's and this is how the sport guys breathe, and this is how I adapted to it. I used to do Pavel's power breathing to a certain extent and mix it up with Valsalva and everything, and now I've come to a full realization that anatomical breathing, moving with the flow of the exercise and with the rhythm of the exercise, and then always making sure I keep it open and breathing from the behind my throat here. This is key to making sure that I can provide my body with enough oxygen as I'm pushing through an intense kettlebell workout.
The task, the swing, the condition, the grivik, the kettlebell lifter, will swing a kettlebell between his legs and then in front of him up to the chest level for repetitions. The standard, number 1, maintain the box squat alignment during swings and when picking up or setting down the kettlebell. That means A, the head up, B, a straight, not to be confused with upright back.
This is so
C,
good.
sit back rather than dip down. Number 2, extend the hips and knees fully on the top. The body must form a straight line. Number 3, the kettlebell must form an extension of the straight and loose arm on the top of the swing.
Here's my difference. I say, yes, the arms are loose, but they don't have to be straight. So good, so great cues, powerful stuff. Love it and enjoying it. Oh, the get up. The one exercise that I used to do too. I was even able to do a 48 kg get up without doing the get up at all, by just doing heavy lifts, heavy jerk, heavy squat, heavy stuff, heavy big bang for your, most bang for your buck exercises. I'm the guy that gets a lot of flack. It's considered heresy because I think the get up, while it's a fun exercise, it's a circus move that I don't think gives you any particular benefits compared to the standards and the basics. And then everybody gets riled up in the comments and says, oh, blah, blah. And hey, again, if you enjoy the get up, that's fine. I think it gets obliterated compared to the squat, the press, the snatch, the swing, or carries. And if you're wondering what type of kettlebell I'm using, it's the Pro Kettlebell, the best kettlebell on the market, period. We are working hard to making it available in the EU, Switzerland, as well as the UK as soon as possible. We have a waiting list in the description where you can get notified once we open up shop. Check the link in the description to get 10% off your next purchase and use the code LEBESTARK at checkout.
Comrade, the get up will develop shoulders that can take punishment and dish it out.
So good.
Let's start from the beginning. Pick up the kettlebell with 2 hands. Picking up with 1, we'll call this the broken arm position. Bad idea. Press it up. Keep your elbow locked. Pretend there's a power source in the elbow. Sends energy up and down at the same time. So it's down here.
Major key for many people, even overhead. It's the elbow is fully extended and you pull the shoulders down to maximize stability. There's a drill that we use with our clients to understand what this means. When you bring the arms up, doesn't mean that you elevate the shoulder blades and shrug it up. No, you keep it down to ensure safety as well. This is a major key that takes a long time to learn for certain people who have a little bit of an issue with the kinesthetic literacy.
And up there. Wrist is tight. None of this stuff.
Tight.
Push with his foot. Just do this a few times. Abs tight. Maybe that's all you can do today. It's all right. Gradually build up and prop yourself up and sit up. Come back down.
Interesting how he lifts the leg up like this. They used to be like, oh, if you lift the leg up, you are weak. And here he has a completely different style of get-up that they do nowadays. They develop the exercise to an extent where it looks very different than what you see here.
At this point, you got to get up. How you get up, it's your business. Anything that feels comfortable is safe to you. Keep your elbows straight. Keep your arm vertical. Keep your wrist tight. Now you can stretch your shoulder. Do this a couple times. It's optional. Head back down. Keep your elbows straight. So think of pushing yourself away from the kettlebell. Make the movement seamless. Seamless. Protect your face. And set the kettlebell down. Seamless and tight.
Seamless and tight. Now, again, fine and dandy if you want to do it. I stopped doing the get up. One thing that I have seen for me is my shoulders have become so strong and mobile and supple that from all the pressing, all the jerk, all the snatch, all the stuff overhead. And I think the get-up wins because you are finally keeping the arm overhead, which loosens up or forces the upper body to loosen up because we're tight like this all day. And this is where many people get the benefits and enjoy it. And then they say, hey, the get-up is the reason why. Where I might say, well, it's just probably the overhead position, which is great. One great cue that I've heard, where I think, oh, it makes sense, is I've had this conversation with Daniel Hutchinson. It's on the Kettle Nights podcast channel, fairly recent. And he said he does the get up with his clients to make sure that they are completely separating themselves from everyday life into the training realm. And I get where it comes from because the get up is technical, requires some coordination, where you really have to think in order to get away from everyday life and then finally immerse yourself in training and be in a completely different sphere. I get that. But I could say a snatch, a clean and press, or a front squat, or thrusters, or thrust jerk, or renegades, or farmers can even do the same thing. But I get the coordination aspect that is a little bit trickier. And of course, understanding the movement patterns, combining everything together, it's fine. But again, for my training, don't see value. For me, this is a waste of time if I'm standing up and down, even with a heavy weight. I'd rather do heavy press, heavy jerk, heavy basics, so to speak, to get the most out of my time.
The task, the get up, the condition. The Gyrevik will lie on his back and bring a kettlebell to the floor press lockout. It's interesting that he says the Gyrevik, because Gyrevik is the Russian word for kettlebell lifter, or the person who lifts with kettlebells. And Gyreviks, the OGs from the East, they never did this exercise, and they laugh about the exercise. It's interesting. But this goes back to the history where I mentioned in part one that John Duquesne and Pavel wanted to set themselves apart from the kettlebell sport realm. And somebody commented on a YouTube channel and said there is some other history behind it because they have seen that people get really banged up when they try to do the giveaway style for hundreds or many reps, because I see it that way. Many people have built internal resistance throughout their life. And then once you jump into kettlebell exercises, while liberating, can still be an issue if you do not lose the brakes on your body with good and proper mobility work and then slowly getting up there in order to be able to build capacity so you can do the exercises the way we do them. Just takes time, a little bit more patience. With both hands, he will let go of the kettlebell with the assisting arm and slowly stand up while keeping his arm straight and vertical. He may assist himself by pushing with the free arm into the ground. Slowly reverse the movement. Sir, yes, sir. The standard. Number 1, lift the kettlebell from the ground and return it with both hands. It's an elbow safety measure. Number 2, at no point allow the kettlebell to hyperextend and stress the wrist. Keep the handle at the base of the palm and keep your wrist tight. Number 3, lock your elbow and keep it locked for the duration of the set. Number 4, don't do anything that you would not or could not do with the very heavy kettlebells. That implies keeping your arm vertical and totally control the kettlebell and your whole body at all times. Number 5, never do more than 5 consecutive reps per arm and never train to failure.
And when you watch this, it was so clear that this was something completely out of the norm back then. This was so anti-mainstream and such a contrarian message that he was pushing. And it resonated with so many people and still resonates with many people, even with me, who, again, I'm critical of some of the stuff that he and his ilk believes and does. But you see, this is it. And the way he talks, the way he speaks, his authoritative state. I talk like this and now follow. This is powerful and enigmatic. And it's easy to see from a marketing perspective why this worked. And it's good stuff in there as well. It's not just marketing, there's also value. The clean, crisp like a crunch.
You can't put a kettlebell up overhead until you can bring it up in one clean movement to your shoulder. Hence, the clean. We'll start with the grip. See, stick your kettlebell in here, stick your hand inside the kettlebell, and let the weight rest on this point right here. So if you were to palm strike something, that's where the weight is resting. Mm-hmm. And the wrist must be...
So good. Palm strike it. Palm strike. This is good. This is what I tell our clients as well, especially with the press. It's like you want to palm strike press it overhead. Palm strike the handle in order to push it overhead. Wow. Great cue. Love it. I go even deeper into the kettlebell so that it really hangs deep. I want to insert my hand as deep as possible and always connect the elbow to my body or the iliac crest if possible to create the perfect platform. But this is a little bit different than what he teaches.
Neutral. Don't let your wrist...
See, now he does it. Now he does it. So the elbow's connected to the body very close. Yeah.
Back. It's really bad news for you. Right here, you can even wiggle your fingers. Then your shoulder must come down and relax.
Yeah, see, it does it. Yeah.
But your glutes are tight. Tense the glutes. Protect the back by tensing the glutes.
This is, look. Man, why, you hardstyle and RKC folks, why have you been critiquing us all the time about the rack position, which is so bad for the back? I'm joking, of course. Yeah, that's a solid, super nice rack position. Love it. Which goes to show that that's what he was taught back in the day, dropping the shoulder, keeping the elbow close to the body, really rolling and bending the T-spine, getting into this kyphotic position to make sure that the elbow reaches the hips or the stomach, depending on how long your limbs are. This is awesome. And nowadays, when you see folks, they stand up straight. No. See? He did it. You have to do it too. Just go back to the roots, my friend. Love this.
Your arm is pressed against your body. You don't want it out here.
Yes.
Pressed tight against your body. Mm-hmm. Your elbow is like protecting your spleen or your liver. It's right in here.
Super nice.
You don't want to kettlebell go out here. See, this is bad. We'll call the broken arm position. Ladies, though, they have to hold the kettlebell slightly out to the side because you don't want to be banging up your breast, either with a kettlebell or with your arm. But gentlemen, keep the kettlebell really close, right in here.
Yeah.
Really close.
See, that's a double rack position. That's a kettlebell sport, getaway sport rack position. Elbow close to the body and then really grinding yourself, bending yourself in. And this is so awesome for the posterior chain because there's so many reasons why, but I don't want to get too deep now. But yeah. That's what's up. Love this.
Abs tight, glutes tight, shoulder loose, wrist straight. You're ready to clean. Comrade, a very important concept in our system of training is relaxed tension. When you perform your quick lifts, they're very similar to karate punch. You're very loose. Suddenly you're just very tight. You're loose and you're tight. Your arms stay very relaxed, but the hips are driving hard. Mm-hmm. Arm, relax, hips, hard, compressed breathing. Same thing in the clean. Same thing in all these different lifts. So you gotta know how to get this pressurization through here while keeping your arms loose, really loose.
You can build pressure in the abdominals with the Valsalva maneuver for very heavy presses and squats, I get. But for conditioning exercises and momentum-based exercises, ballistics like the clean, the swing, you don't have to do it, or I don't do it, because then I just, like I said, I breathe. I use this diaphragmatic breathing. and then bell close to the body. But I like a relaxed tension is you have to understand which muscles have to relax and you have to understand which muscles have to contract. 100% agree.
Very good thing to do is practice these kind of relaxation exercises between your sets.
And you won't believe how tight I was when I got started with kettlebells. I got from the typical traditional bodybuilding type style training. And when Steve was teaching us, he taught us relaxation because I was tight all the time. And we've seen this too in practice with our clients as well, is everybody's always tight all the time. So, or many people, especially those who have a little bit of overload going on in the sense of maybe some kind of work-related burnout or depression. There's always tension. The elbows or shoulders are always up. And kettlebells, while they're requiring tension, they also teach you how to completely relax. And this harmony and interplay between tension and relaxation is probably one of the reasons why martial artists love kettlebells.
Shake it off. Just shake it off so you can go from loose to tight to loose to tight. That's relaxed tension. So, comrade, you've put up the kettlebell right here using two hands. You let go with one hand. You found this very nice, comfortable spot right here. The kettlebell's sitting very comfortably in this triangle, very snugly. And
the triangle, we call it, the kettlebell rests in the nest. I saw this from a CrossFit coach or a CrossFit-related Instagram page, where when the kettlebell sits up here, they say the kettlebell rests in the nest, that triangle. And see, this is where you take cues from everybody. It makes sense to listen to everybody and then use what is useful and discard what is not. Bruce Lee.
Arm is snug against the body, your glutes are tight. You're feeling pretty darn good. You're ready for the next step. The next step is learning how to drop the kettlebell. It's extremely important for your safety that you keep your arm loose, completely loose. Just whip loose. So what you do is this. You just hike past the kettlebell behind you and just let go. Just throw it.
I 100% do it completely different. This is where the ballistic nature, this is where we differ. So when I drop the kettlebell, I do the corkscrew maneuver so that I unlock the kettlebell right here from my forearm. It turns around. So the kettlebell wants to fall because now gravity sets in and wants to grab the kettlebell and pull it down. So I do this and then I lean back. And I don't lean back by hyperextending the T-spine, but I lean back by shoving my whole body backwards, pushing the hips forward, and then relaxing into this kyphotic T-spine position. And then boom, the kettlebell drops. I wait for the arm to reconnect with the body. And this is where the pendulum mechanic comes in, where I dip the knees, grab the kettlebell, and then fully extend and come back up. So this is where I use a lot of leverage. And leverage is king and key, especially with the heavier weights if you train like this.
Outside, obviously. Then pick it up with two hands again. And once again, just hike past. And as you hike past, your thumb will turn down. And keep practicing it until your arm gets completely loose on the release. There should be no tension in the elbow whatsoever.
And you can keep the thumbs up as well. So we call it front hand or back hand. It depends. The back hand is a mixture between transverse and back. And the front hand, just the thumb stays upward.
Once you have succeeded doing that, then just retrace the whole works. So here you are, up with two, comfortable, clean. Okay, the wrist feels good, everything's nice and snug. And now hike pass and retrace. Hike pass and retrace. Don't bang yourself up. So pretend that you're cleaning to your waist, not to your shoulder. That's going to keep the arc much tighter.
And that's a very good cue. Pretend you're cleaning the kettlebell to your waist, not to your shoulder. Think about swinging and closing the kettlebell down to your waist. So it's a downward movement, not an upward movement. Now again, since we know that the force is all vertical, we already know that if we do it the proper way, that the kettlebell wants to come up and I have to interfere. The clean is where you interfere with the trajectory of the kettlebell and then boom. Reverse it so that it comes close to you instead of just floating out there. And the banging up of the wrist is something that takes a lot of practice, a lot of time. Don't be discouraged if it doesn't happen right away. In my case, it was the same. I struggled a long time with it. And then once you really put in a lot of reps and you've got some great coaching and you understand the proper information and apply it, then no more issues.
Drop the kettlebell really close to your groin. Really close. Drive with the hips. Let the kettlebell roll around your forearm. Something important also, don't do too many cleans until they're perfect, for the sake of your elbows and for the sake of not banging yourself up. Get your conditioning with your swings and just practice your cleans.
Good point.
Comrade, cleaning the kettlebell right out here, we call it the broken arm position, as they call it in arm wrestling, is a bad idea. Hardening elbow, wrist, and shoulder. You gotta keep it closer to the inside. Here's the hard way to learn the skill. Keep your hand up to protect yourself should the kettlebell bounce off the wall. See, the wall is gonna teach you the hard way. There's another skill the wall will teach you. How not to drop the kettlebell too far in front of you.
Yeah.
This is not good. You gotta drop it really close. So here we are. Keep your hand up for guard. Can't even get closer. See? Tight.
So it doesn't have to be too close. If you do it like this, yes, it's easier to do. It doesn't have to be that close. I remember when Steve was teaching us, imagine when you clean and you have a person approximately 1 meter in front of you and you don't want to hurt that person with the kettlebell as they stand in front of you. Now, what many beginners do is, he 100% agree, and he 100% understands this, is they throw the kettlebell away, and then you crash into the person in front of you, or think there's a mirror in front of you, and then you crash it, and then the kettlebell rips you apart, and then, you know, everything falls apart. So it's that keeping the body, elbow close to the body and dropping the weight inside your center of mass, yes, but the key is you are using leverage position by pulling your upper body away from the bell, so that when it drops, it's almost like the bell's down here, extended, and you are up here. So shoulder and arm, they are in a diametrically opposed position while you are shifting your whole body weight around the weight in order to stay in the center of mass. And this just requires a little bit more skill, understanding the exercise. But once you get that down pat, your clean, your snatch, your swing, they will never feel the same. It's such an awesome flow feeling that I never want to miss when I do the ballistics.
Tight. The wall is a good teacher. The task. The clean, the condition. The Gidevik will pick up a kettlebell and swing it back between his legs as a first swing, and then bring it to the rack in one smooth movement. He will then drop the kettlebell back between his legs and repeat the drill for reps. The standard. All the points that apply to the swing, minus the straight arm requirement on the top. Note that there is no knee dip when the kettlebell is racked. Number 2, the kettlebell, the elbow, and the torso must become one on the top of the clean.
You want to become one with the kettlebell. I love this, man.
Number 3, the arms must stay loose and the hips must do all the work. Number 4, the kettlebell must travel the shortest distance possible. Number 5, unacceptable, scooping, banging the forearms, stressing the back, elbows, wrists, or shoulders. Ladies may not hit their breasts with the arms or kettlebells.
The shoulders like the Kremlin parade troops. I just love this. All right, here we go. This is part 2 of my reaction to Pavel Tsatsouline's Enter the Kettlebell. What I have seen now is that some of the cues that he shared in the beginning, I came up in a similar fashion. For example, the lifter, the Gidevik, and the kettlebell must become one. So that's what we say too. In the beginning, the kettlebell feels like a foreign object, but as time progresses and as you apply the proper information, as you learn the skill, as you master the move, then you become one with the kettlebell. I say this too. So many things, even dipping the knees forward instead of squatting down. A lot of the stuff is just based on when you work with people, when you understand the mistakes that they make, when you've been through the trenches of spending some time with actual people who, in our case, never lifted the kettlebell in their life. And again, I want to stress this, and I know that some people just don't like me for whatever reason, but the key is, I want to stress this again, like I said in part 1, even if you disagree with somebody, there are things where we say, this is where we find common ground, and this is where we deviate, and that is totally fine. Here's the next thing that you have to do. Clean and press that like and subscribe button. Share with a friend who's interested in kettlebells. And if you made it this far, download my free ebook in the first link in the description. It's called the Kettlebell Code. You're going to love it. It helps you to get started with kettlebells. And by the way, if you're still here and you have ideas on who I should react to, I'm going to finish this Pavel series because I love it. And I get a lot of learnings too. And I think some of you are too. You mentioned it in the comments on the last video. If you have any ideas, I saw you guys sharing some ideas which I should react to, which I'm going to do in the near future. But keep keep those ideas shared in the comment section so I can take from them and then maybe give us some value down. So see you in the next one.